Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's the Red Shadow, and I am back once more with the continued string of videos of my reviews of games I beat this year. I was happy and proud of myself for knocking out a couple of them a few weeks ago. It's been a little less than 2 weeks ago, I guess, since I recorded all those and then scheduled them all out in consecutive days. But anyway, I wanted to keep that momentum going as best as possible, so I thought today is as good a day as any to sit down and get started on a few more of these. So, without further ado, we'll just go ahead and get into the next game that I beat, and that is this little one right here, Under the Waves. And I want to start off by saying that this is probably one of my favorite games that I beat this year. Also, I'm holding this case. It's like it seems heavier than some of these other ones. Yeah, that's because it actually has a little booklet inside there. Anyway, Under the Waves is it's a narrative-driven game that is borderline kind of spooky. It's not necessarily a horror game. It's more of a game about isolation, about an individual who is all alone under the sea, on like a little underwater, oceanic base, and he's by himself there he's working for a company. I'm probably going to be sketchy about the actual details to this since it's been a few months since I played it. But he is there working for a company, a mining company, I believe, and he's taking care of maintenance and searching things out and doing repair work when it's necessary. And he's there not just because of it's the job for him to do, but because he's also sort of bearing himself away from traumatic events in his life. And he feels the need to work through these events by doing this job and isolating himself from his wife, from his friends and family, and only having minimal contact with somebody who he's involved with at the job, someone who's sort of like, I guess, like his contact point. And so the game just takes place basically in two main arenas. One is on this underwater base that is your operations. It's the place where he sleeps and where he eats and where he stores his stuff and does basic maintenance, communicates with the outside world and all that. And then whenever he has to go out and do the day's job, then he gets out of the base and into this little submarine type aquatic vehicle that is shown on the cover here, and then you move around in this. It's a pretty big open space for an underwater arena. It wouldn't be the same as moving around in Los Santos or in Red Dead Redemption 2's world. But as far as like an underwater space is concerned, it's pretty big, and a lot of the game is moving around in that little sub and finding things to collect off of the oceanic floor, or maybe you have to go in and do repairs on stuff. And there's an ecological slant to the game, so at some point you are able to go through and like clean up these little oil spills and pick up trash and things like that. And then there are times when you get to a facility, a building, a warehouse, something underwater that you can get out of your submarine. You can get out of the submarine at any point while you're doing this, but for the most part, if you're traversing from one spot to another, you're going to be in the sub. But then you can get to these certain locations where you get out, and then you have to move around inside of these bases, these buildings, finding things that you need to do. Once again, repairing things and kind of discovering another aspect of the story. Like you're getting to learn what's going on with your character and this trauma that they're dealing with, but you're also learning about this company that you're working for, and maybe you're realizing that they're not exactly who you thought they were. And the story, the backstory for your character was very interesting. It does have some moments when it turns into sort of like a nightmarish dream state, and this is another way that he is dealing with his trauma, and it lends to the kind of creepiness factor of this game. But like I said, this isn't, in my opinion, a horror game. It's more of a game of tranquility, and I think for some people, isolation and tranquility can be horror of its own. But for me, I was just really into, I thought the story was really compelling, and while I didn't necessarily agree with the main character's rationale for what he was doing, I still wanted to see it through to the end, and I think that's probably about as basic of a thumbs up for something is if you feel compelled to continue on and see what's going on, even if you don't agree with the main character's motivations or anything like that, or if that's not the way that you would excuse me, work out your issues. That's just the telltale sign of a good game, good story in a game. So yeah, I really liked Under the Waves. I would rate it pretty high for what I have beat this year, although I have recently beat some stuff that would probably rival it, but I'll get to that whenever I get through the ones that I beat before it. But Under the Waves, yeah, definitely a game that I could recommend. If anything I just mentioned there sounds interesting at all, especially if you're into the narrative-driven story-type games with gameplay, but maybe not anything super special in the gameplay arena, then yeah, check out Under the Waves. I had a good time with that one. Alright, well that finishes that one up, so I'll wrap this one up and get into the next one. We'll see you in the next video.